Let's start with the first pillar of a successful business, running your business. Running your business is no mean feat. You need to make sure that everything is on point, from checking your stock supplies to managing your teams and keeping customers happy and wanting more. And then on top of all this, you need to make sure that the required reporting is done. To do this, you need a team that's doing what they're supposed to and using the appropriate tools to help them do it efficiently. You also need the ability to flag and fix issues before they get in the way of you running your business. So in this module, we're going to take a look at how Syft can help you run your business better. As a business owner, you know the importance of delegation and the distribution of responsibilities within your organization. And Syft makes it easy with our user and roles features. You can also limit the access that some users have to features to make sure that that least privilege principle is applied. We're going to look at Syft's activity logs feature, and you can find this within the settings view. So click on this drop down next to the profile icon, and here you'll see we have this oversight section, and within here we have some features that give us good oversight of all of our entities. This will only be available if you are the owner of an organization, and if you are, you can then go click on activity logs, and here you'll get to see a list of all of the users that have accessed your organization. You can see that there are two-factor implemented. You can see when they were last seen on Syft Analytics, and then you can actually go and see a little bit more information. So for this standard one user, we can actually go and click on see activity, and here we can go and see the downloads that they have done in the previous time period and when that was done. So we can go see if they've actually gone and downloaded that report for the client that we had asked them to. We can also go and see page tracking, so where they've clicked, what they're busy doing, as well as the entities that they have access to. And at the top here we have a nice summary of some key metrics relating to this user. So really powerful insights to kind of see how your team is working with Syft. Next up, we have entities, and here you'll have a list of all the entities that you have on your organization. In the first box here, you'll see a list of all the entities that you have access to, and if you expand each of these, you'll be able to see who has access to them. You'll also be able to see the currency and the source of these entities, and then if you click on no access, you'll see a list of any entities that are on your organization that you do not have access to. And these might include journal entities that other users have created, or perhaps other accounting provider entities that they've added to the organization, and you might not have access to these, but this gives you a nice view of all the entities on your profile, and you can then go and request access if you need it. Just a good way to see all the entities that you have on your Syft. Let's look at how you can invite other team members or users to your Syft organization. So you need to go to the Users tab, which you can find in Settings. So to go there, you're going to click on the drop-down arrow next to your profile picture, and then you're going to click on Users. And within this User section, you'll see that we have the option to either invite users or to go and import users. We can also go and add user to a specific entity. So if you click on invite user, you'll then need to go and input their email address. You need to select the role that you want to give them, and we'll explore these different options a little bit later when we look at the roles section. But basically, depending on the role you give them access to, they will either have more or less functionality on Syft. So let's just give them staff access. We can then go and choose which entity we would like to give them access to. So we can go and give them access to just one of the entities that we have on Syft, or all of them, and then we can click invite. And now that invite will be sent, you'll see that the user invite is pending because they have not yet accepted it, and we do have the ability to go and resend that invite. We can go and edit the invite, so we can actually give them access to more or less, or even go and change their role if we would like. Perhaps we made a mistake or the situation has changed, and then we can also go and delete this invite if we no longer want this person to have access to it. Once they've accepted, we'd still be able to go and edit and delete as well, but this pending tag would change because they would have actually accepted and their user role would be active. The next option we have is import users. So here we can go and select a role that we would like to import those users for. We can select the entity that we would like all these users to have access to. We then need to go and download the template, which you'll see just includes space for their email addresses. You can go and input all those email addresses and drag and drop them into this box and then click invite. And this is a great way to bulk upload a large number of users instead of going and inviting them individually. So this is how you can invite users either one at a time or in bulk. And then under add user to entity, you'll see we can go and select one of the users that has already accepted the invite to Syft. So there we have it. And then we can go and add or remove any entities that we'd like them now to get additional access to, or go and remove any entities that we don't want them to have access to. And so those are the options within users. Next up, let's go and explore those roles. Just a reminder, when we invited a user, we could select which role we would like them to have access to. And so those roles are determined over here. And so within roles, you'll see we have some standard roles. So these are all the standard roles, but you do also have the ability to go and create a custom role. But let's first go through those standard roles to see if any of those will work for you. So firstly, we have the owner role, and this owner role can invite new users to the organization, manage billing, and have access to all features. This is recommended for the owner of the account who will manage billing. So here you can see, if you drop down, you'll see all the features they have access to, and if you toggle down, you'll be able to go and see in more detail the features that they have access to. And so owner basically gets access to everything. Next up, we have admin. And so admin can invite users to the organization and access all features, but they don't have access to the billing. So this is recommended for super users in your organization. So again, you can go and see what they have access to, and they would have access to most things except for that billing. Next up, we have staff access, and so staff access would have access to all features, but they can't invite new users, and they don't have access to manage billing. And again, you can go and have a look at the things that they have access to. Next up, we have client, and client has limited access to features and the inability to add entities to Syft. So this is recommended for users who are clients of your organization, so they would have much less functionality. You'll see they already just have access to go and visualize data, but a great one to use if you want to involve your clients. Next up, we have some guest invitations. So these are very useful if a user has their own Syft account or is really external to your organization, then you can invite them as a guest. So an accountant access is tailored to accountants and includes all the reports and transactions, and this is recommended for your accountant who perhaps has their own Syft account. Next up, we have oversight, another guest role, and this gives access to top level metrics and oversight only. It's recommended for users with their own Syft account who only need to see account balances for your entity, so not all the detailed transactional information. Next up, we have account access, and this gives this user access to all of the reports, excluding transaction level detail. This is recommended for users with their own Syft account who only need to see account balances for your entity. And then we also have the last one of our standard roles, which is full access, and this gives access to all the reports and transaction level details. So again, this is recommended for someone who has their own Syft account who needs total access to your entity. Okay, so those are the standard roles, and as you can see, there's a lot of variation and they are quite powerful. But if you would like to go and create a different role, if none of these meet your exact needs, you can go and create this custom role by clicking on create custom role. You can give it a name, so perhaps we want to say junior staff, role description, access for our junior staff. We can choose if they are a member, so someone within our Syft organization, or a guest. And here is just a little reminder that guest roles are for individuals external to your organization and have their own paid accounts. Guests are usually auditors, investors, or financial institutions and have different email domains to you. So just some insights to help you decide whether someone should be a member or a guest. Let's go and create a member role. We're then going to click create, and now we can go and customize what this junior staff member would have access to. So we can click here and we can say, oh, we actually don't want them to have access to live view, maybe we don't want them to have access to knowledge center, and if you're not sure what this includes, you'll see this little eye. It includes the knowledge center guides, account manager, what's new, and onboarding tasks. We can also go say we don't really want them to see our break even or our cash. And as you can see, you can really go and customize the different things that you want or don't want them to have access to. So really a lot of functionality over here. And once you're happy, you can just go and click save. And now you'll see at the bottom we have this new junior staff level, and we can go and see what is included in this user role. So now if I wanted to go and invite someone, I could go back to users and I could go and invite them, and you'll see my junior staff one is over here, and I can go and choose the entities I want them to have access to. So that's how you can invite other team members or even external guests to your organization, and how you can control and customize what they have access to. Staff tend to be more engaged at work when they know what they're working towards and feel like they can make an impact. And that's why it's really important to share goals and the progress on these goals with your teams. It's also important to be able to hold teams accountable, but to do this you need sufficiently detailed information and the ability to make relevant and summarized reports that you can share with these teams. And so it's really exciting that Syft segments and ledgers features makes all of this possible. The Ledgers tool, which you can find under Analyze Ledgers, gives you the ability to create reports with balance sheet information, profit and loss information, as well as operational, for example, customers, and even non-financial information, so that you can share this with the team member responsible for those numbers. So for example, we've created a sales analysis report here so that the sales team can consistently see how they're performing. So here they can see all the different types of sales they've generated. They can also go and see the non-financial metrics that we uploaded using connections. And here we can go look at things like retention rates, or we could include sales calls. We can also see some balance sheet information, and you can go and add both the opening and closing balance for balance sheet accounts now, or the movement. So we could go and see how accounts receivable has moved during the period. We could also go and include the operational information for customers. And then here we could calculate the KPI, for example, to see how we're tracking on sales to customer satisfaction, to see how customer satisfaction maybe impacts sales, so we can make better decisions for the future. This ledger can be built out within our ledger tools. So you go to layouts and then ledgers here. You'll see we have several ledgers created, and you can go create a new ledger, and then you can go and add source from account information from profit and loss and balance sheet. You could add totals. You could import a whole layout that you've previously created and then go delete parts of it that you don't want. You could include customer or supply information, or even product information by tag, and then you could go and import connection data as well. So here you could go and import that non-financial information, and then you can go add it to your ledger to build out something like this sales ledger. And what's really powerful about this is often you can't share the whole profit and loss with your team because perhaps there's numbers that they're not supposed to see, or you want to share some profit and loss and some balance sheet information, and it's too overwhelming when it's a very big long report. So what this ledgers tool does is it gives you the power to go and only include the things that are relevant to those who need to see this report. So the sales team only needs to see sales and perhaps collections. If we look at an expense analysis, perhaps there's someone responsible for managing expenses, and so they just need to see the expense part of the report. And so instead of these numbers getting lost in the rest of the profit and loss, you can just share this report with them and only share the information that they actually need to see. Segments are best suited for when you have divisions. So on here you can see we have divisions, and over here it gives us a list of divisions. So what are these divisions? Well, these divisions are either tracking categories, classes, or analysis codes that are pulling through from the underlying accounting software. So if you have gone and allocated transactions to one of these things on your accounting provider, that will pull through to Syft. So you could go and do a divisional report. So I could go and look at a report that looks at the different locations. So we're going to just select these over here and click apply. And if we go to divisional, then you'll see it's giving me profit and loss for each of the divisions. But with segment, you can go and create a whole new entity for this one division, which we call a segment. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to go and create a division for Atlantica. So we're going to go add entity, and then we'll click on segments. We're going to call it Atlantica division, and then click next. Now we're going to have to select which entity this comes from, so Jay's Cupcake Company, and now we're going to go search for that division, so Atlantica. You'll note that you can also select multiple divisions, so we could go and select Atlantica and cakes, and when you select two, you'll note these two options appear. So you can choose if you want it to be Atlantica and cakes, or anything that appears in either of those two divisions, or if you want it to be the exact division, so only cake sales that happened in Atlantica. So that's an option there. I'm going to just select Atlantica for the purpose of this example and click create. And now we've created a whole new entity on Syft. If we go to the home section, you'll see that now we have Atlantica division. You'll see it's got a different icon and that it's a segment. And when we go into this entity, it will have its own dashboards. It will have its own visualizations. The profit and loss will only be for Atlantica. And so now Atlantica has become its own entity. So we could then go and add users to just this specific entity. So I could come here and invite a user, and I could invite them to Atlantica. And this is useful if, for example, you want the head of that division to gain insights and manage the performance of their division. You could now go and add them to the Atlantica division so that they could see everything that's going on in their division, but they don't get to see what's happening in other divisions. We can also go and create our own KPIs for this division. So if you go to financials and KPIs, you'll see this is the KPIs specifically only for this division. And you could go and build out reports for this specific division. So it's really powerful to get a view as to how this division is performing, and then to go and share it with those responsible for making sure that this entity performs. So this level of granularity is useful for overall decision making and empowers you to identify well-performing or poor-performing divisions so that you can learn from what went right or what went wrong, as the case may be. So another way we could do that is if we were to go to the oversight section. We could have a list of all our divisions. We could have Atlantica and all the other divisions, and then we could see what their financial score is. So here we can see that Jay's Cupcake Company overall is performing pretty well, but the Atlantica division is not performing well. And so this could be a great way, if you're running a business, to go look at all your divisions and see where the strengths and weaknesses are within your business. Perhaps some locations like Atlantica are not performing very well, and other locations are, and then we can go learn from the good and apply it to the bad. So as you can see, ledgers and segments are both powerful tools for managing your teams and entities more effectively and making better business decisions. Syft's overview and oversight section are particularly useful if you have lots of entities within your organization. For example, if you have a group of entities or several franchises. They can also be really useful if you have different divisions within one organization, because you can use the segments tool that we just learned about to create a separate entity for each of these divisions, and then you can get an overall view on how each of these divisions are performing. So